Hi, okay, here we go. It's our very last session. It will probably go over 2 videos because they get quite long and I worry about them getting too big. So we are consolidating. We've done all the learning and we are now going to have a go at some exam style questions so that we can see where we are with everything. So your first question is there. I'm not going to read them out to you. I am going to let you read through. Give it a really good go. It's not a test. Don't feel like you have to do it from memory. You can look things up if you think that will help you, and then just hit play when you are ready to see the solution. All right, so good luck and hit play when you are ready. Okay, so this is quite a big question, isn't it? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of information coming from the table. It's wordy. And these are the things that can sometimes make questions feel a lot harder than maybe they are. So let's take a little look at this. We've got the table giving us information about 2 companies. So we've got company A, the sales are in millions and the number of workers that they have. And then company B is kind of doing the same thing on this side of the table. We've got information that are 2 years apart. And the first question is work out the percentage increase in the sales from 2016 to 2006 to 2016 in company A. So we're really only interested in the sales for company A between these years. It's a percentage increase that we are trying to work out. So this is, obviously there's no percentage in the question, is there? But there is that increase. So that's that 1 tick formula, which is our difference over original times 100. So the difference is going to be 408, take away 340. That's going to get me my 68. 68 goes over the original 340. And when you multiply that through, you get an answer of 20%. So there's been a 20% increase in those 10 years. All right, which company had the most sales per worker in 2016? Company A or company B? So this time we're looking at the workers. So, and I want to know, it says, which company had the most sales per worker? Now that there helps me put together the information. So sales per worker, and it's 2016. There's my sales, there's my workers. So I'm going to be putting sales, 408 per worker. And I'll pop that in the calculator. The calculator will give me this, okay? And on it goes. Going to do the same for company B. There's 53 million with 645 workers. That's giving me 0.08 and 2, 1, on it goes. Okay. Now I obviously have to interpret these. Okay. This obviously being bigger means that company A is getting more sales per worker. So a big proper top end question there, probably really getting into that grade 5 with all that information that you've got to pick out. All right, there's your next question. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Right, so we've got Danny leaves work at 4:10. He drives 20 miles home and has a speed limit of 30 miles all the way. So keywords here is speed. That's a really good one because that stands out as an actual word. The miles is my distance. There's even some reference to time as well. So it's a speed, distance, time question. So we've got our formula triangle. The distance is 20. The speed limit is 30. So 2/3 of an hour Okay, 2/3 of an hour. If we split our 60 minutes up into 3, we get 20. And when we times that by 2, we get 40. That's just one way to do it. If I add 40 minutes to the 16:10 when I left, plus the 40 minutes, I'm at 16:50. So yes, he can get home by 1700 hours. Okay. Next question. Give that a read through, give it a good go, and hit play when you're ready to see the solution. Okay, so keyword, it's all over this story, isn't it? Mean. So I'm reading the mean. I've got to work out the mean score for the men, and that requires my knowledge of mean to be used. So add them all up, divide by how many are there. I know how many men, women, and children there are, and I know the mean. I know the actual answer. What I don't know is all those individual totals that get added together. So what I do here is I say, okay, the women, we'll just do something like that. So I'm working on the women. The women, there is a total, I don't know, but when it was divided by 12, because there are 12 women, it would equal 14.8. So I'm going to take the 14.8, times it by the 12, which gives me that. And that is the total. That's the total for the women. All right, so I still don't know all those individual values that they had, but I do know what they all add up to now. And I'm going to repeat that because obviously I've got the information for the children as well. So exact same thing, same steps for all the same reasons. And that's the total for the children. That was the women. Okay. The next piece of information we have that's going to help us is in the next line. So Kelly says the mean score for all 40 people is 12.1. So there is a total I don't know that when it's divided by 40, it equals 12.1. So 40 times 12.1 is equal to 484. And that's the total for all. And that's what's now, all of that is what I need to get me this mean score for the men. So I now know that the total for everybody was 484. If I take off the total for the women and I take off the total for the children, that will leave me the total for the men. That has to be what the men totaled. There's 20 of them, so I'll divide by 20. And it gives me 11.4. So 11.4 is the mean for that question. That's a grade 5 complex mean question. So well done. There's no shortcuts with that, is there? There's a lot to do. So if you got that right, well done. And please remember that every step is adding marks to those overall marks. This sort of question is a 4-mark question. So lots of marks to actually be had. Let's move that out of the way. There's your next question, guys. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so the keyword estimate is telling me to round. So I've got 5 plus 2, and then we've got a times 7 in there. So 5 plus 2 times 7. Now remember BIDMAS, I must times first, and then I will add on that 5. 5 plus 14 is 19. So what I've got is the square root of 19. Now I'm going to estimate from here as well, because I can't square root 19. I need a square number. So I need to think about the square numbers that are close to 19. 16 is a square number close, and 25 is. Consider the one that's closest. 16 is only 3 away. So that's the closest. So now I'm going to write square root of 16. Just about squeeze that in. Square root of 16. which is equal to 4. So that is my estimate. I estimate that calculation to be 4. All right, next one. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so we need to be trying to work out who got the highest mark. Now we know Max got 24, so we don't actually have to do much for Max, except use it to compare against the others. Ian got 35% correct. So 35% is 35 over 100 times through by the 60. And we can see that he got 21 marks. So that was Ian. Ian got 21 marks. Then we are going to do 3/8. So divide, whoops, wrote 2/8. That wasn't very clever. So we've got 3/8, 2 times by 60. Divide by the bottom, times by the top, pop it in your calculator. You've got 22.5, which is what Max got. Okay, so who got the highest mark? We've got 22.5, 21, and 24. So Max got the most. And it's really important that you show all your working. That's obviously there. And you answer this question. That's there. All right. Always sensible when you finish a question to just read that last sentence again, because it makes sure that you are answering what they've asked you to answer. Okay, there's your next one. Press play when you're ready. So a multiple of 20 is 60. Multiples are the times tables. A factor of 45. You've got a couple of choices there. 15, 30, 45. So 15 is a factor, and so's 5. So either of those you could have written down. And the cube number, a number multiplied by itself, like 2 times 2 times 2, or 3 times 3 times 3, is 125. That comes from 5 cubed, 5 times 5 times 5. Okay. Right, pause and hit play when you are ready. Right, the modal class. Modal is mode. Mode is most common. So if we look at the frequency, 19 is the biggest frequency, making this the most common. So we would write down 20 T 24. Calculating an estimate for the mean, you've got that word mean, you've got a table. So this is the MAD method. So we must use the MAD method. So multiplying first, midpoint is 10. So we're going to be doing 10 times 8, 14. We've got 18, 22, 26. So you multiply those and you get these answers. So that's the multiplying step done. You've then got to add them all. So obviously I'm running out of space a little bit. So when I add all of these together, I get 904. When I add the frequency together, I get 50, which is good because it says it's going to be 50 in the question. And I divide those two totals. 904 divided by 50 is equal to 18.08. We're not asked to round, so we're not going to do anything other than leave that as our answer. And then we had to finish that off by drawing a frequency polygon. Now, the frequency polygon is going to be drawn using coordinates. The coordinates are the midpoint and the frequency. So you've got 10 and 8. you've got 14 and 6. So 10 and 8, 14 and 6. Your midpoints are there and your frequencies are there. So those are going to become your coordinates. And when you plot them, you would end up with something that looks like that. So if you got that right, really, really well done. Let's move on. We've got 2 questions there. So I want you to hit pause and press play when you have done both of them, please. So a prime number is a number that is only in its own times table or in the ones. It's got 2 factors. There are 2 that you could have written down. 31 is a prime number in that range, and so is 37. 72 as a product of prime factors. There are obviously different ways that you can start this off. You don't have to do it the same as me at all. You just got to find a times table that multiplies to make 72. I'm going to choose 8 and 9. 8 9s are 72. And then the 8 will split to 4 times 2. 2 is prime. And then 2 and 2. And then over here, the 9 will split to 3 and 3. So my final answer there is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Or you can express it in powers like so. So this is your working out. If you stop here, you won't get all your marks. This is the way that you write it because product means times. So they're really asking you to show that time sign. Okay. Right. Question 10. There you go. Hit pause and press play when you are ready. Okay, so the table is giving us some information about Year 12 students that were absent from school. And we have to work out the mean number of Year 12 students that were absent each day. That's the first part of this. So we are going to add them together and divide by how many are there. So we have got 10 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11. That all adds to 48. So there was a total number of 48 absent across the 5 days. Divide by 5, and that gave us an average of 9.6 across the week. Don't round. I know it's tempting to because you can't get 0.6 of a person, but it's the mean is something that you wouldn't round for because they're not wanting a person answer particularly. A mean answer is really what they're after there. Okay, the school has 120 students in Year 12. What percentage of Year 12 students were absent on Wednesday? So I'm really only interested in what's happening in Wednesday and the very fact that there are 120 students. So 9 out of the 120 students were absent. And this is another really good example of when they're wanting a percentage, it starts life as a fraction first. To turn it into a percentage, we just times through and you would get 7.5%. So 7.5% of the year group were absent on Wednesday. Okay, question 11. Take your time, have a read through. It's a bit similar to one we've seen. So if that didn't go well, hopefully this second go will be a little bit easier for you. So just take your time and press play when you're ready. Okay, so we've got a total of 45 boys and girls in the chess club. The mean age of the 20 boys has been given to us and the mean age of the 25 girls is given to us. And we have to calculate the mean age of all 45 boys and girls, okay? So it would be very tempting to just add and divide. We're going to make sure that we go through the process properly, all right? So the boys have a total that when it got divided by 20, it gave 16.3. So we will do 16.3 times 20 and get 326. Girls, there were 25. We had 16.8. 16.8 times 25 is equal to 420. So we're going to add those together, which was going to give us 746. So I don't know. I say one thing and write another. Silly. There we go. 746. And we're going to divide that by all 45. So once we've done that, we get an answer of 16.5, 7 and 7, and on it goes. We haven't been asked to round for this particular question. You can't just keep writing the same thing. I would show this as a recurring decimal with that dot over the 7. All right. Okay, excellent. I hope that went well. So question 12 looks like quite a big question there. So I want you to hit pause and press play when you are ready. Okay, so we have been given a story about Billy's garden. It's in the shape of a circle. He's going to cover the garden with grass, and we need to work out how many packs he's going to need. Now, hopefully you spotted the key word estimate, which means that we are going to be doing some rounding where necessary. The biggest part of this problem, especially for you, is the fact that there is a circle and we need to know the area of a circle. And if you don't know the area of a circle, you're going to be stuck really, really quickly. So why did I include it? I included it because it is incredibly important that you appreciate where what we're learning can get crossed over and appear elsewhere. So here is a great example. Estimate, because of the fact that it's just really about rounding numbers, means it can come up anywhere in any topic at all. So we need to keep our eyes open for that key word. Now, to find the area of a circle, oops, don't want to write in my highlighter. To find the area of a circle, we need pi r squared, okay, where r is the radius. Now, if you press play because you were completely stuck and weren't able to get started on this, or you now know that what you did must be wrong because of this new information that I'm giving you, then feel free to hit that pause again, take this hint, take this extra kind of information and see how far you might be able to get with it. It's substituting into that formula, okay? I'll let you know that pi is equal to 3.14 and on and on and on and on it goes, okay? So you've got no calculator, it's an estimate question, you've got that additional knowledge, hit that pause if you want to and press play once you've had another stab at it. Okay, so the area is pi r squared. That means pi times r squared. Now my radius is 8, so that's 8 squared. Pi, I'm going to just get on and round because it's 3.14, so it's a horrible number. So we're going to go straight in there with the 3. Oops, quite small. I will leave it though. So that's giving me 3 times 8 squared. Now 8 squared is 64. So I'm going to round that because it's an estimating question to 3 times 60, which is going to give me 180. So pi r squared is 3 times 8 squared. We're estimating that to be 3 times 60, which is 180. Now, each pack is going to cover 36 meters squared. But remember, I'm estimating, so we're going to call that 40. So I've got to now take my 180 and I've got to divide that by 40. So I'll knock those off. I'm going to go into my bus shelter, 4s into 1 don't go. So carry that 1. 4s into 18 go 4. And I've got a remainder. I've got a remainder of 2. So put the point in. And then 4s into 20 go 5. I almost don't even need to finish it either, because as soon as I've gotten to the point, I know that I'm going to need more than 4 packs. I can't go into the shop and say, I want 4 whole packs. And can you just tip me a little bit out of that one? They're not going to sell it to you like that, are they? They are going to sell it in packs. So this is 5 packs. I'm going to need 5 packs of grass seed in order to cover that lawn. All right, hopefully that went well. Okay, let's do another couple, and then what I'll do, I think, is I'll stop this video. If you're feeling, thank goodness, I needed a rest, then just give yourself some time before you start the next one. You can always stop and start and pick these up anytime you like. All right, so have a little read through of that one, and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, so we have to find the modal. So once again, it means checking out which ones there's the most. 5 is the biggest number, which means 2 goals were scored more often than any other number of goals. So 2 is my answer for that bit there. It then says work out the total number of goals scored. So in this, there were 3 games played and no goals were scored at all. Here, we have got 4 games where 1 was scored. So that would give us a total of 4 goals. Here, 5 games where 2 were sold. So 2 were scored. 2 on game 1, 2 on game 2, another 2 on game 3. It's multiplying, isn't it? It's the first step of our MAD method. That's what we do here. So we multiplied that. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 3s are 9. 4 4s are 16. And then you add all of those together to get your total, which is 39. So it's just that first step and no more. All right, so well done if that went well. And then we've got our last question on this particular, let me just pull up a little bit more on this particular video, and then we'll carry on the next one. So again, read through, take your time, and then press play when you're ready. Okay, so we're asked to describe the correlation. It should just be N, not there's only one correlation, which is negative. So we've got a negative. It's not the strongest, but there's definitely a downward trend going on there, isn't there? It's definitely heading downwards. Bella is 5 years and completes the dash in 8 seconds. The point representing this date would be an outlier. And you have to explain why. So one of the things that you could do with this is you could plot it, okay? So age 5, 8, don't even need to plot it absolutely perfectly if you didn't want to, because this is your thinking that's going on here, nothing more. And this type of question is 1 mark, you're kind of right or wrong, but it gives you a picture, it gives you that visual, it helps you think about it. Why is it an outlier? And the answer is it doesn't fit the trend of the data. The trend of the data is further away from the point that we've just marked on. So the trend of the data kind of falls between this line and this line here, and this is definitely outside the trend. So that's what we would say for that question. So explain why it's outside the trend in the data. Something along those lines are what we're looking for there. Bear is 12 years old, but missed his turn. So estimate how quickly he would have completed the doggy dash. So this is where you're using the trend in the data. You're seeing what's been happening with the other dogs to try and get a bit of an idea of what would happen for Bear. So you have to use the graph, drawing on that line of best fit. Remember, that is a mark before you do anything else. And that line of best fit needs to fit. So it's like a magnet, remember? And we get as many of those crosses kind of stuck into that line as possible. Now, I've already drawn a line that should work because I can't rely on it doing it for me all the time, can I? It's very temperamental. So I would put my line probably about somewhere around there, because you can see that these two are a similar distance apart. These ones, which are quite wide, I've tried to get those fairly well. They're sort of a little bit that side, but then there's a little bit that side. So around about there. Now, because everybody's line is going to be slightly different, that means that everybody will have a slightly different answer, and they allow for that. They give a range that you have to fall in. So if your line is wildly off, then you're not going to be in their range for the answer, are you? So then what we'll do to finish it off, he's 12. So we need to work out where 12 is so that we can go up and hit the line, okay? So that's the first thing to do. We don't just rush into this. We've got to think about it, okay? So where's my little pointer? 10 is here, 15 is here, and there are 10 squares between them. So there's 10 little squares, which means that each one square is going to be worth 2. Okay, so that is 11, that is 12, that is 13, and that is 14. So when it comes to reading scales, really, really important you take your time with that, okay? Every scale is different, and we have to make sure we've understood it. So 12 is this one here. So you would go up, hit the line, and then you would come across, and this is going up in ones. So I would say that 11 is a pretty good estimate for the time that it would take. Okay. All right, so we will have a break from it here, and then we will pick it back up. Now, if you are ready to just keep going, then obviously just click on the link and you'll just get the next video up. If you're taking a break, then obviously enjoy, and I'll see you when you are ready to finish off. All right, well done, because I know that these courses can be, especially these types of videos, they can be quite intense because you're being forced to jump around a lot. So well done.